Hello guys, and welcome to another video. And in this video, we're finally going to write an essay together. So I have the notes from the previous video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I recommend you go back and watch it and then come back here and learn how to write an essay. So I have my notes. I have all the, advantages and disadvantages, probably all the things necessary for me to start writing an essay and finish it as well. Before we start, I'm going to explain some technical stuff. So let's get to it. Now, let's start with this one. Alternatives to words. Let's start by discussing the, alternative ways to say advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. There are some that I recommend you use, and there are some that you should avoid using. So you can always use these things. Yeah, benefits and drawbacks, upsides and downsides, positives and negatives. Don't use words like pros and cons, pluses and minuses, and merits and demerits. Yeah, I often see people using merits and demerits, but these words are mostly wrong and they should be used in some specific context. So it's better for us to avoid using these altogether. So don't use words like, so let me include it here. Yeah, don't use words like pros and cons. This looks quite informal to me, so I don't personally use it. Pluses and minuses. And don't use words. So pluses and minuses, these are too casual. Yeah, you can use them while speaking to your friends and stuff, but I don't really recommend using them in essays, yeah, IELTS essays. And then don't use words like merits and demerits. So these words require specific context for you to be able to use them. So it's better for you to avoid them altogether, completely. Yeah. So instead, use words like benefits and drawbacks, upsides and downsides, positives and negatives. These words are often, most of the cases, interchangeably, which means that you can use them interchangeably, which means that you can use one instead of another in most cases. Yeah. Also, in some contexts, you can use words like concerns, problems, issues, instead of saying drawbacks or disadvantages, let's just say. And sometimes instead of benefits, you can say convenience, right? So this is the technical stuff. And now let's move on. And in the do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages question, you need to come up with at least two advantages and two disadvantages to address all parts of the question. Yeah, because the question itself says, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Advantages, disadvantages, plural. Yeah. So to be on the safe side, to play it safe, you should try and include at least two advantages and two disadvantages. Sometimes you can include three, sometimes you can include four, depending on your skills. But the most optimal way is to, discuss two advantages and two disadvantages. So now, next technical thing, mention your position in the introduction. So, it's important that in any essay, yeah, not just with do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages essay, you should include your position. You should include your opinion. You should include your answer to the question right at the beginning of your essay. Yeah, do not create any suspicion. Yeah, some people use memorized sentences like, this essay will discuss the advantages and disadvantages, and I will present my position in the conclusion or something like that, right? So these sentences in, almost all cases are bad. So don't use such sentences. Yeah. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you other, better ways of using such sentences together with your position, together with the answer to the question. Next one. You need to include effective topic sentences as well, which I will explain how to do in the next parts of the video. So now let's start with this introduction. Introduction must have at least these two things. I mean A and B. Mm. So these two things are a must. Mm. No matter what you do in your introduction, there must be these two things. So firstly, you need to introduce the topic by paraphrasing the question. So you just simply look at the question and paraphrase it. That's the first thing you must include in your introductions. And the second thing that you need to include, like I said, is your position. Position means I'm going to use the word position a lot throughout this video and throughout other videos that you're going to watch in the coming days. So know that position is the answer to the question, your answer to the question. No matter what kind of essay we're talking about, your position is the answer to the question. So if the question says, do you agree and disagree? You need to mention your position. You need to answer the question right in the introduction, right at the beginning of your essay. Okay. Sometimes you can also include something called a background statement sentence, but it's not necessary. The problem with including background statements is that it's always difficult to come up with such sentences unless you're an advanced user of English, unless you're a very skillful writer. I don't really recommend using background statements because, I mean, I don't do that. But still, it's possible to write very, very good essays without any background statement. Yeah, just focus on, at least at the beginning of your journey. Yeah, focus on introducing the topic by paraphrasing the question and then present your position. Answer the question. So that's it. Now let's talk a little bit about how to paraphrase the question, right? So we have this ideal way, which is for, let's just say, advanced users again. Because once you reach this level, the best way, the easiest way to write an introduction is this. Like, you just read the question, you understand it, and you close the question, you don't look at the question, and you will try to reproduce a sentence with a similar meaning. So I repeat, you just read the question. I will just show you how to do that, right? You just read the question, you just understand it, you just identify the topic, and then you just close the question, you just ignore the question, and you will try to use your own words, own sentences to produce a sentence with the same or almost similar meaning. Okay, so now let me show you how to do that. So here's the, let me copy it here. So here, noise pollution has become a major problem in cities. So now I understand the question. I just, close it like this, and I will try to produce the same sentence. Yeah. Well, people in cities often complain about noise pollution. This is what I do often. Yeah. So I just look at the question, I understand it, and I just ignore the question, and I will try to produce a sentence with a similar, almost the same meaning. Yeah. So now if you look at these two questions, I mean, these two sentences, they have the identical meaning, I guess. Yeah. So noise pollution has become a major problem in cities. People in cities often complain about noise pollution. So the same thing. So this, I mean, why do I call this the ideal approach? Here's the reason. So doing this actually allows me, or allows the writer, to focusing too much on the question and replacing the words in the question with some strange synonyms. So people say, instead of noise, people use their applications on their phones to find the synonyms. Yeah. And instead of pollution, they say contamination. Instead of become, they find another strange synonym. Instead of major, they may probably say big. Instead of problem, they say issue, and instead of cities, they say urban areas, which is okay. I'm not saying this is bad, but the thing is, you shouldn't replace every single word with its synonym, because if you do that, in 99% of the cases, your introduction, your paraphrase for the topic is going to look very strange, because we don't do that when we, write or when we speak. We just try to produce the whole sentence in a slightly different way. Remember that paraphrase means to say one thing in a slightly different way. So now, I mean, this is the ideal way. So practice this. Now I'm going to, show you other ways of doing this. So other ways may include using synonyms. Yeah, for example, instead of major, you can say big, it's going to be okay. Instead of cities, you can say urban areas, which is okay. So you can also change the tenses, yeah, passive into actives or active tenses into passives. Yeah, for example, if the question says some people believe, you can say it is believed by some people. It's still a paraphrase because you're producing the same idea in a slightly different way. Next one, which is my favorite, changing the word formation. Now, changing the word formation basically means to change nouns into adjectives, adjectives into nouns, or adverbs, nouns into verbs, and verbs into nouns. For example, I'm going to give you this example. Yeah, you can say this. Yeah, look, history is important. Important. Instead of saying this, you can say this. Yeah, history has importance. So I took the word important, which is an adjective, and I turned it into a noun by saying importance. Yeah. Of course, you can say history is significant using synonyms. Yeah. Is significant. It's still okay. I'm not saying one is better than the other. So even this, yeah, I was talking about changing word formation. And if you say, for example, imagine there's the word learn in your question. Yeah, learn. If you can find a way to use the same verb as a gerund, it's still a paraphrase. For example, learning. It is still going to be considered a paraphrase. So when you try to, paraphrase the topic, you should combine all of these. Yeah. Don't just use synonyms. Don't just change the tenses. Don't just change the word formation. Yeah. Just try to, combine all of them, depending on which one is more suitable in the context. Okay. So now, I will send this book, yeah, to improve your paraphrasing skills. I recommend this grammar book, and I will also send the PDF to the group. It's called Use of English by Harrison Mark. It's for FCE students, which means that it's for intermediate, upper intermediate level students. So in the book, you're going to find many, many tasks, exercises, which will help you, improve your paraphrasing skills. So I will send the book, and I will also show you how to work with the book. So now let's write the essay now. Now I will explain everything which you should know to be able to, write an essay to this question, yeah, to this topic. Now I will use the notes from the previous lesson, of course. Okay. Um, so now, just a second. Okay, let's read the question. As transport and accommodation problems are increasing in many cities, some governments are encouraging businesses to move to rural areas. So remember how to write an introduction. We need to rephrase the topic. If we can add a general background statement, but it's not necessary. And the second thing that's a must is to include your position. So let's start from the beginning. So as transport and accommodation problems are increasing in many cities, some governments are encouraging businesses to move to rural areas. So can I use due to? Due to problems with transport, yeah, and accommodation, in urban, or we don't have to say that, yeah. Many businesses are now relocating from urban centers to rural areas. I guess that's good enough for a paraphrase. Yeah. So let's read it. Due to problems with transport and accommodation, many businesses are now relocating from urban centers to rural areas. I guess that's okay for a paraphrase. So let me just think again to see if I can, come up with a better paraphrase. So okay, I get this one just came up. Yeah, this one just looks interesting. Yeah, problems related to transport and accommodation are forcing many businesses to relocate from urban centers to rural areas. So I like the second one actually. Yeah, urban. It should be urban. uh, urban centers to rural areas. Let's read it. Problems related to transport and accommodation are forcing many businesses to relocate uh, from urban centers to rural areas. Actually, both are okay. Yeah. So now let's move on. We have included the paraphrase now. If you see, I used the ideal approach, the approach for advanced users. Yeah. I just read the question and I just ignored it because I understood the question. Now I'm trying to, produce a sentence with a similar meaning using produce using my own words. Yeah. So now here's an important takeaway for you guys. You don't always have to change every single word in the question. I said that again. Sometimes I see students facing difficulties when it comes to rephrasing the topic itself. Remember that it shouldn't be a difficult thing. It should happen in like seconds, right? So if as long as you produce the same sentence, you produce a sentence with a similar meaning, even though you have to use some of the words from the question itself, I mean, you're okay. Yeah, you're all right. You don't have to worry too much about it. Okay. So now, as long as you don't copy and paste the same thing, you should be all right. Okay. Just try and rephrase the topic as much as you can. Now, the second thing that we need to include is the answer to the question. Yeah, we need to present our position right in the introduction. So in this question, I'm going to say that the advantages do outweigh the disadvantages. Yeah. So let's include my position here. My position. Advantages do outweigh, or let's just say advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So here's an important thing. The word outweigh, you need to pay attention to that. The word outweigh doesn't mean to be more in number. The word outweigh means to be more important, more significant. So even though we have two advantages and two disadvantages, one side can be more significant. Yeah, one side may outweigh the other. So outweigh doesn't mean to be more in number. It means to be more important. So now my position is advantages outweigh the disadvantages, right? Now I'm going to show you two different ways of writing an introduction. I do both. Both are okay. Depending on your skills again, you can just choose whatever that's suitable for you. So I say this, while there are some downsides to moving to rural areas, so there are some downsides to moving to rural areas. They are outweighed by the benefits. I mean, this is an easy way, yeah, very simple way. Now, let me explain this. In the previous video, if you saw, yeah, we, saw a sentence which included this sentence structure, yeah. After when you use there are some downsides, benefits, drawbacks, you should use the preposition to or in. Don't say of. Yeah, it's going to be incorrect. Okay, so now this is very simple. Yeah, I use the word outweigh in a passive tense. Yeah, by saying they, I'm referring to downsides. Yeah, while there are some downsides to moving rural areas, they are outweighed by the benefits. So it's very, very simple. Now, I mean, just imagine that your position was the opposite of this. Yeah, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. So in this case, you can just switch the words, the position of words, downsides and benefits. You would say something like, while there are some benefits to moving to rural areas, they are outweighed by the drawbacks. Very simple. This is the first way. Yeah, let's just say this is the version 1. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the version number 2. So version number 2. Yeah. So I'm going to copy the, the paraphrase part. So instead of just saying this general sentence, I will outline my, arguments. Yeah, I will outline the downsides as well as the benefits. So the downsides of this, or downsides of moving to rural areas can include, what were the downsides? Let me just refer to my notes. Yeah, slower growth and transport infrastructure may be inadequate. So I will include this. Yeah, slower growth for businesses and inadequate infrastructure, but these drawbacks are outweighed by the benefits, such as, yeah, now I will include the, benefits. What were they? Lower cost of doing business and lower competition. Such as the lower cost of doing business and lack of competition. So the word lack of competition kind of looks like it has this negative connotation. It looks like a negative word, yeah, word with a negative meaning. So let's refer to the notes. Yeah, I believe it was some nice word. Less rigorous competition, less stiff competition, can I say? Less stiff competition. Okay, let's leave it that way, a lack of competition. I didn't want to, say lower again because I already use it here. So now, we have 2 versions of introduction. So both are okay, depending on your skills again. You can use both, but if I were to compare these 2 approaches, I'd say the second version is much better. Not much better, like slightly better, let's just say, yeah, because it includes everything that we're going to discuss in the essay, okay? So let's read it one more time. The downsides of moving to rural areas can include slower growth for businesses and inadequate infrastructure, but these drawbacks are outweighed by the benefits, such as the lower cost of doing business and lack of competition. So that's it. That's the introduction done. Now I need to talk about one skill. We will practice this more in the upcoming essays. I mean, in the upcoming videos. So what makes you, one of the things that makes you a skillful writer is your ability to turn sentences into noun phrases. Let me explain what I mean by that. Yeah. So this was the sentence. Yeah. So this was a sentence. Yeah, it's a whole sentence. Yeah, it has the subject and verb. Yeah, transport infrastructure may be inadequate. So instead of saying this whole sentence, I turned it into a noun phrase by saying inadequate infrastructure. Or let's include inadequate transport infrastructure. Infrastructure. Inadequate transport infrastructure. So that's the skill you need to learn. Yeah. For example, today we wrote an essay with my pre-IELTS groups. So I used this sentence. Yeah. So they said that, I mean, we were talking about the reasons why younger people do not go to concerts anymore. So one of them said that the ticket prices are expensive. And tickets are expensive. Mhm. So this is a sentence, yeah, full sentence with subject and verb. So instead of saying this, you can say expensive tickets. Yeah. So that's going to, reduce the number of words that you have to use in a sentence, and it's going to make your writing more efficient. So you need to practice this skill. Okay. So now let's move on. Here's an important note. You need to start and note. Let's just say note. Start with the part that you didn't agree with. So here in this context, we said that the advantages are more important, which means that we will start by discussing the disadvantages. So I'm going to start it. Now, if you remember, one of the things that you need to do is to write effective topic sentences. Now I'm going to show you how to write effective topic sentences, okay? So we can say this. Effective topic sentences include three or two things. Two or three things. Two or three things. So the first thing would be this main idea. It's not the first thing. I'm not saying that these things should be in order. You can mix them. Yeah. For example, you need to include your main point, main argument. The second thing is you need to link the main point to the topic of the essay. And the third thing is mention what that main point is, whether it is an advantage in this context or disadvantage or effect or reason or solution. I mean, depending on your, context, depending on the type of essay that you're, writing, yeah, solution. Now I'm going to show you how to do that, right? So I said that we will start by discussing the disadvantages here because we thought that the advantages are more significant. So what was the first main point? Slower growth. Now, this is the main point, right? So I will say this, yeah? One disadvantage in opening a business in rural areas is the slow rate of growth. You see? Now let me explain, yeah? So one disadvantage This is this C thing, yeah? I mentioned what it is. Yeah? It's a disadvantage. And look at this one. This is the B1. I mean, I linked this to the main, the topic of the essay, yeah? Opening a business in rural areas. That was the main topic. And then I also mentioned that, so let me glue this. Yeah. So I also mentioned my main argument here. Here, main point. Here it is. So you can do them, you can just mix them and do all sorts of things, yeah? You can do this, yeah? The slow rate of growth is one disadvantage of it should be of opening a business in rural areas. Instead of opening, I can say establishing. So still. Now, still the same thing, yeah? Still, these three things are retained. It's a disadvantage. Now, this is the main, topic of the essay. So you see, that's how you write very effective topic sentences. Now, what we're going to next is the development. Development is the most important part of your essay in terms of your score for task response. If you're aiming for a good score in task response, you need to develop your arguments. So normally, when you present an argument, you will have a pretty good idea of what you're going to say after that, right? But when you don't have any idea, you can use these prompts to develop your, point, develop your arguments. Can I present the reason or reasons? You can answer this question. Or you can say, can I make comparisons? You can say, can I present a result? Can I give any examples? Can I explain, or what do I mean by this? What do I mean by this? Or you can also, these are actually more than enough for you to develop any essay argument in your essay. And so now let's refer to our notes again, because we had some interesting points. Yeah. So the slow growth is caused by the small customer base and the low cost of living in rural areas. Okay, we can mention that. Many urban businesses witness fast growth due to unique selling points, customer services, and customer-driven products. So this is kind of comparison, yeah? Now, let's start by comparison, yeah? So let's write this sentence. So where was it? Yeah. Many urban businesses. Yeah, you see, that's a nice word. Many urban businesses. Instead of saying businesses in cities, we can say many urban businesses. Yeah. So what was the sentence? Many urban sentences. Businesses witness faster, growth thanks to what was it? Customer base something, yeah? Thanks to unique selling points, customer services, and customer-driven products. Unique selling points, customer services, and customer business. Um, okay, customer-driven products. Mm. But, or let's just use while in cities, I mean, in rural areas, mm, what was the topic? Yeah, I mean, idea. Mm. Businesses may have smaller customer base. Customer base basically means mecazlar bazası. Yeah, like you will have people that will purchase your, product. So in rural areas, this can be small. Yeah. Okay. Driven products, while in rural areas, businesses may have smaller customer base. And the cost of living in rural areas are also lower. Mm. This often means, now I'm going to talk about the result and link this to the question itself. Yeah, this often means that it may take longer for a business to what, thrive. Yeah, that's a nice word. Than those in urban areas. So that's the first argument. So now let's read it one more time. Yeah? One disadvantage of opening a business in rural areas is the slow rate of growth. Many urban businesses witness faster growth thanks to unique selling points, customer services, and customer-driven products. While in rural areas, businesses, so there must be a comma, yeah, businesses may have smaller customer base, and the cost of living in rural areas or in these areas, so in these areas, are also lower. Is also, let's just say, because it says cost of living. Okay, this often means that it may take a longer for a business to thrive than those in urban areas. So if you pay attention, I'm constantly using referencing, you see, in order to avoid repetition. Yeah. So here, these areas I referred to, rural areas. And I said those in urban areas. Instead of saying businesses in urban areas, I said those. Yeah. Instead of the word businesses, I use the word those. So now, what I will have to do now is that I will present the second disadvantage. Okay, what was the second disadvantage? So lack of proper infrastructure. Poor transport infrastructure. Look what I will do. I will explain a very good thing now. Poor transport infrastructure can be another drawback. So let me explain another thing now. So if you pay attention, I'm trying to avoid using like linking words. Yeah, like additionally, moreover, therefore, as a result, I'm trying to avoid these. So the point is, the more you avoid these, the better, as long as you connect your sentences in a very effective way. It's going to increase your coherence and cohesion score. So instead of using, for example, moreover or additionally or furthermore, apart from this, you can use this, another. You see, it's very smooth and it's going to be very easy to follow your essay. Yeah. Poor transport infrastructure can be another drawback. Now I will have to do the same things. So let me refer to the notes because we had some things. Yeah. Okay. I guess we need to come up with an example for this one. Mhm. This is especially, mhm, this, this is especially inconvenient, or this, or let's just say, yeah, this especially mm, poses a challenge for businesses that rely on transportation. Mm. So now all I have to do is to come up with one example to prove my point. So let's think, what kind of businesses rely on transportation? Mm? For example, food producers or supermarkets often have their products, transported from other locations. And if the infrastructure is poor, inadequate, this is going to, present some challenges, right? So supermarkets, for example, mm, I mean, supermarkets, I mean, these are not a good business, yeah? Okay, what kind of business? Yeah. Construction business, yeah, can I say that? Construction business. Mm. Building construction businesses. Construction businesses, yeah. No, it's not a business. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a very good example. Yeah, like pertinent example. So that can perfectly exemplify this point. Yeah. So this especially poses a challenge for businesses that rely on transportation. Mm. Um, okay, I will talk about import and export. For example, businesses businesses mm, that import or export products mm, maybe can be at a disadvantage. Mm. Businesses that import or export products can be at a disadvantage. Mm. Due to the lack of proper, adequate uh, infrastructure. Mm. As they may face delays. Uh, so let's change the structure of this sentence. Yeah? At a disadvantage, as they may face delays in delivering or receiving products due to, now I can say that again, due to the lack of adequate infrastructure. That's it. That's the first body paragraph done. It may look a little longer, to be honest. How many words? 118 words. So I'm trying to, write a very good essay that may score 8.5 or something. Yeah. So let's read one more time. So think about, I said that, very good topic sentences should have three things. Yeah. First, you need to include the main topic. You need to link the main topic to the you need to have a main idea argument, and you need to link this argument to the main topic. And you need also, you need to mention what it is, whether it's a disadvantage, advantage, benefit, reason, effect, solution. Yeah. So if you pay attention to the second topic sentence here, I didn't have to link this to the topic. Yeah. I just included the main argument, which is poor infrastructure. Yeah. Poor infrastructure. And I mentioned that it's a drawback. This is yellow. And again, I tried to develop my arguments as much as I can. So let's understand the words that I used here. So to be at a disadvantage, that's a nice collocation. That's a nice word. That's a high level word. To be at a disadvantage means to be on the losing side. To be at a disadvantage means to be on the losing side. And face delays, I guess you know what delays mean. And lack of adequate infrastructure means poor infrastructure. Adequate means good and high quality. Inadequate means bad, poor. So here I said lack of adequate infrastructure. It means poor infrastructure. So that's the first body paragraph done right there. So I guess this video is getting a little bit longer. So I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to send the rest of the essay in the second part of this video. So thank you guys for your attention. See you in the next video.